Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome. Give it just a second and Alvin will kick us off.
All right. Cool. You can hear me pretty good?
Loud and clear.
All righty. Thank you very much, everyone, who is attending. Let me mute this real quick. Boom. We are at part 2. It is being streamed. Can you take that off? Boom. I got it. So this is part 2 of the series New Journey of Black Entrepreneurship, hosted by me, Alvin Singh, with Startup Junkie. And this is a pretty interesting time because this is actually Juneteenth. Some other things we'll talk about too. So yes, what have I been up to lately since the last webinar that we had? Still learning about micro lending and microfinancing through the Kiva initiative, which is been quite interesting. Actually, last month we got 3 fully funded entrepreneurs from that program. I'll speak more of what exactly it does and how it helps entrepreneurs. But I've also just been looking at e-commerce trends too, kind of where different kind of click funnels are working in e-commerce space and different tools and applications that are working with that. And another one is just business automation, or what some people may call AI, artificial intelligence, or machine learning, or things like that. And so that's just a lot of my interests have been with lately. And Startup Junkie. So that's the team that we've been focusing really good lately, and in the past year, being since the pandemic and just getting back into normal. You got to think Startup Junkie was doing almost 200 something events a year, maybe 200 plus events a year. And so, well, we've been, working really hard, and the team has been doing a lot of great initiatives in Oklahoma and in Arkansas. It's just really good things to just kind of follow up with. Here's our actual website, actually, too. I had it right here. Put this to the side. Boom. This is our website, startupjunkie.org. We work with entrepreneurs. We have consulting programs. We have various workshops, all kind of things. Just podcast that's really good, very good. So shout out. Make sure you check out the podcast that we've got. So yeah, just check us out, Startup Junkie. That's the team. And so today it is actually Juneteenth, which is an interesting celebration. It's a historical event. Actually, the President of the United States was able to sign off to make it a national holiday today. So it's a national federal holiday. It's been lobbied for a very long time. The actual day is it's sort of a celebration of the Emancipation of Proclamation in 1865. And so it's been a long time coming, needless to say. And recently, too, in context, was the 100th year of the Black Wall Street Massacre in Tulsa, 1921. And it was a lot of documentaries, a lot of events, and a lot of commemorations and memorials and celebrations, and just kind of a historical overview back at what took place in Wall Street in that Greenwood district. You see my t-shirt is actually says Greenwood. And one of the things that it's in context of where we are in the African-American or Black entrepreneur journey is this was a city that had 600 businesses within a 35 to 40 block range, 21 churches, 21 restaurants, 30 grocery stores. I mean, just a amazing ecosystem. If we were to look at today of surviving in an ecosystem where you can sustain everything in your economy, this was the kind of prototype place. So if you were to look at today's world of startups, they're saying that you wanted to do your own Uber, which they had, laundry services, food delivery, food catering, doctor services. I mean, everything that we can literally 100 years from now can look at and say, can I do a startup company in this space, was already there. And many of the other Black Wall Streets as well across the country. But specifically, this is one that took place in 1921. And they estimated the loss of $20 to $200 million of property loss, commercial property, and just overall businesses that was there. Speaking of another business, the way it was started was two businessmen who had hotels. So they had their own bed and breakfast, Airbnbs, for travelers that were coming, through Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so that's where they started it. They put their foot down and they created this community, which is a fascinating story. Very tragic what happened afterwards. And, now there's a whole lot of legislation to get the reparations for them for that. But today I wanted to kind of discuss more resources for entrepreneurs. So in this journey, last time we talked was in this journey and kind of in a historical context of entrepreneurs who were doing things under some of the most, harshest circumstances to business environments. So whether it was discrimination, Jim Crow laws, or lack of funding is, some of the things we face today. They were examples of entrepreneurs who still did things and were successful with it. Today, we are doing it and witnessing the same exact thing, right? Let me kind of take it back a little bit. With some of the businesses that we saw back then, were businesses that were very niche and businesses that could have been just as well for the whole city. So it wasn't just particularly Black businesses. So if you had a grocery store, then that was a grocery store that was good for all people. If you had a sewing store, a clothing store, a transportation, this was good for all citizens in that community. And so in this entrepreneur journey that we're dealing with now, many entrepreneurs who are very niche and know what they're doing are finding an obstacle in getting the funding that they want. So here's some ways to get secure some funding. And if you're an entrepreneur and got a business, please feel free, ask questions. This is interactive, and I would like to answer and kind of, jam with you on some solutions. So, okay. So some of the ways that I've kind of put together of ways to secure funding in today's environment as a Black entrepreneur. One is through microlending. That is, with the Kiva program that we're seeing, I'll talk more about that, where it is, a collage or a community of people who lend you money. They're not donating, they're lending it to you and promise of you paying it back to them. And Kiva's particular is 0% interest, right? Not all of them are like that, but that's Kiva's. Also is a Black business focus on incubators, right? So there's a lot of incubators in a lot of different cities that are being funded by, local chambers or local nonprofits or local universities where they're specifically focused on women-owned, Black-owned, minority-owned incubators, right? And then there's also inclusive venture capital funds. This is very slim. So this is, we went over last time the statistics of VC funding, so I don't want to kind of go back over that and just drop a whole lot of facts. But as we know, many venture capital funds were not as inclusive towards a diverse businesses, right? Being, last year's climate and the political climate and everything, we've seen that open up some more. So we have seen a lot of corporations put, funding aside for minority-owned businesses. Another way is loans through Black-owned banks. We did that statistic too last time of there's only 21 banks, Black-owned banks in the United States, and none of them manage less than $1 billion, right? I'll repeat that again. So out of all of the 21 Black-owned banks, All 21 of them are managing less than $1 billion in assets, okay? Another way is angel investors. Angel investors are people, friends, family, just really people who really see the vision in what you're wanting to do, and they invest in it. And there's angels investors out there. Crowdfunding is a little bit different than microlending. So crowdfunding, again, is through, they've got GoFundMe's, they've got Indiegogo or Kickstarter. So this is where people are investing in what you're doing, but they're also kind of, pre-ordering it from you, right? And then there's grants. Here's some of the resources. If you can screenshot this, if you're watching it. If not, if you're listening to it, if your email is on here, maybe you can email. We're going to send the slides out. But here's a list that I compiled that's should be very helpful of funds, resources, all of the different ways that I was just explaining on how to get. We got Venture NWA, Mag Venture Capital, Collab Capital, and let me show you some of the websites here. This is actually Rihanna's website, foundation website. And I thought it was interesting because they were really focused on, certain initiatives and business and investing in certain projects. This one is self-employed grant. So a lot of solo entrepreneurs, a lot of people who started businesses on the side during kind of the pandemic, where people were having to be off of work or finding new jobs, so new careers. And so here's a grant that is for people who are self-employed. That is one of the resources. Another one is Black Angel Tech Fund. This is for technology companies. Digital Undivided, very good. They have tons of resources. I know that was a lot of questions last time was how can people know where to find some of these businesses. Here's another one right here. Minority Business Development Agency, mbda.gov. This is very helpful for a lot of grant proposals, on resources on how to create the grants, how to find grants. This is very helpful because, sorry about that. And the reason why this is helpful because a lot of businesses, feel that, hey, I don't want to get a loan, right? I don't want to get something where I'm having to pay it back. They're very worried about collateral, credit, and things like that. So grants is an attractive approach too, because you may have a sort of community initiative in your business, maybe a social entrepreneurship aspect to it, and a grant can help you because you're doing something overall that's just, not just making capital for your business. So this is specifically for minority businesses. Collab Capital, this is based in Atlanta. They are investing in tons of startup companies. Very innovative, fun, really good. Let you see them. Yeah, here's another good one. PS27 Ventures, really good. All of this is listed. Venture NWA, this is in Northwest Arkansas. They have a base here too. Here's some of their programs. Let me see. Sorry about that. Perfect. Okay. Screenshot these if you can, or just email it. So here's something that we came across that was interesting. 41% of Black businesses declined the first 3 months of the pandemic. Now, this is the one stat that I did repeat. And the reason why this one is such an important one, because with or without the pandemic, what this shows is that they were 3 months away from closing their businesses permanently, not temporarily, but permanently. And that's pretty, daunting statistic, because you want businesses that are able to thrive, right? You want to be able to create a business that is not only going to do generational wealth, but you want a business that can at least withstand itself, whether it is through an economic, pushback, or, even if you were in a city where there was weather, storms, hurricanes, anything like that, floods or something like that. You want to be able to weather essentially the storm as a business owner. And so this was a daunting statistic, because this showed that they were 3 months away from closing down, right? And you want to have your business set up so that if you were in that situation, you were able to adapt. You were able to instantly make changes within your businesses, or go into different type of resources that your business can thrive on, right? And so let's go to the next one. Staying alive. You want to stay alive as much as possible as a business owner, especially in the modern day right now of entrepreneurship. So like I said, adapting, right? Few ways that you can adapt is, of course, going digital. If your business is not online and has a digital strategy, then you should spend a week, a weekend, and almost a month to really, work towards going digital. And this is what I mean by that. That's creating, systems set in place. So where there's automation systems that, are you capturing payments at nighttime since your business is not open 24/7? Are you doing email alerts or newsletters that are automated, not waiting when you're just doing it, but also kind of going on holidays and on a scheduled base? Are you outsourcing some of the paperwork that you're doing, whether it's through, financing, business, admin, things like that? Are you, what are the ways that you can kind of help yourself in this digital area? And that's important, because as entrepreneurship, it's all about speed, right? And one thing for certain is that we're in a competitive 24/7 global economy. So that's essential. And one of the good things I'm also seeing is unlikely collaborations, right? So where can your business maybe identify with someone that's in another industry that can work with your business, and maybe you can cross-market each other, right? Today I saw this, which was interesting news. Courtney Adeleye, I think Adeleye. That sounds like West African. But yeah, the first African-American entrepreneur to do a collaboration with Good Morning America in 2 different industries, beauty and the home industry, right? And she wrote a post on how humble and honored she was to do this. And I thought that was, a good example of collaboration. So this is Good Morning America. And she was able to infiltrate it through both beauty and home industries. Right. And so if you are, doing a business, would you be able to collaborate with a local flower store, flower shop? Would you maybe collaborate with a wedding planner on a business that you're doing? Maybe you have an Airbnb or a cleaning service, or maybe you do a catering service. What are the ways that you can kind of find, another partner in your business, and both of you can capture money? Because there's ways that people spend money twice in certain settings from 2 different people. So there's always ways to do that. And another way is narrow down on your niche. So if you are targeting a particular audience, how can you even go further into that audience? So if it's a gender, or if it's a demographic, then what are the interests that are even slimmer within that target audience? And so this is helpful, because when you're adapting as a business owner, you want to save money. And sometimes, rather than casting a large net, you may want to market, to a certain niche audience that can actually save you money and actually can spend the money faster, right? There's, we can, if you have questions about that, I can answer more on that. And then do an audit of your business model. So if anything that showed us within the last year, 24 months, is what you think your business starts as, it may not be what it is going to be in the present or in the future, right? And that's dealing with payment systems. We're hearing a lot of talk of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. So what do you do when you're asking for dollars, but your customer has Bitcoins, right? It's no more of saying, hey, I only, come back only accept cash. That's not what you want to do, And so how can you, start adjusting your business model, how you're looking at your business, where do you see your business going, so that it can, get a full audit to not just where it is today, but where you want to take it in the future, right? And diversity. Diversity is just key. I mean, everybody says it, but it is important. I mean, it's not just a cliche thing, diversity. It matters because you want to have thinkers from different segments, different type of perspectives, different lifestyles to come in to give you, where you can take your business. And as a Black entrepreneur, how does this work, right? So there's very successful Black entrepreneurs who have managers who may not be African American themselves, right? So it's not about, hiring only, people that look like you, but also too, getting someone that does the best job, right? But then when there is cases where you're, working on demographics or marketing or, advertising or messaging for your business, you may want to bring someone of that demographics, whether it's a Black male, whether it's a Latino male or, woman. You want to bring them in and feel comfortable with asking them rather than kind of, being a know-it-all and say that, this is how you want it to go. So, and I have to give props because this young lady, Jewel Burks, continues to be a shining star. She's someone that I met many years ago, and she's actually running one of the funds that I was talking about that is helping entrepreneur businesses. So one of the things on what I was saying about going digital. So Shopify is a great tool. Let's go right here. They asked me last time, what are some actual things that I can do? Shopify is really good. If you have a brand, I do recommend if you're doing e-commerce or selling anything or accepting payment, Shopify. You can customize WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, all space, whatever, but Shopify is it, right? They have great customer service. They give you an app for your business that you can actually run it mobily. They accept payments from different countries. They have nice designs that you can use for your website. Please, please, please consider Shopify. And if you're really interested, contact me. I have a Shopify partnership. And again, that's not just a plug, but that's who a lot of businesses, you can just look all over from using Shopify, from musicians to big brands, actually. You can tell when it's a Shopify website. And so that's one that I highly recommend. Evernote is a good tool. Evernote is really good for cloud storages and sharing notes. As you're on the go as an entrepreneur, you got to, organize a lot of your paperwork, a lot of your thoughts, or a lot of your emails. So Evernote is a really, really good tool for that. And you want to, so your social media approach, and when you're going digital, is to not get into just post, reactive kind of thinking, but you want to have the mindset that you're being consistent, number one, and number two, that you're being quality, that you're actually putting a message across on what you're doing. So, and some social media platforms may not be for you. You may be much better in another one. So if you're good at doing videos, or if you're doing good at, music, explanation, we call them explanation videos, TikTok may be better for you. If you're really good at writing, blogging is a really good thing for you. Or if you're just make creative in arts and craft, if you have a product, laundry detergent, a t-shirt, a hat, whatever you sell, maybe Instagram may be a better one, right? So really take the approach on seeing what works rather than just what you think everybody's on, right? And ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels is kind of a term that we use to explain how customers get from seeing your brand to pulling their wallets out, right? So an example of a ClickFunnel would be, I go to your Instagram page and I see a picture of a backpack that you're selling, and you're describing it, and then you say link in bio, right? And then when I go to the link in the bio, it takes me to the landing page. And this landing page actually is going to show me pictures about the backpack, the durability of the backpack. It's going to talk about how much weight it holds and everything. And then at the very bottom, it's going to say buy now. And so what this done is, it took me from the picture to the landing page, and the landing page took me to buying it. And that's kind of what we will call a ClickFunnel. So another example of that would be an email. So say you sent an email to people saying, hey, everybody, it's summertime, and I know you're looking for a backpack for picnics and camping. Check out this backpack that I'm selling, right? Or that we're releasing. And the ClickFunnel starts from there all over again. So however, or it can be a text message. And so that's one of the tools I was going to show you as a good example. Write this one down or pay attention. It's Superphone. So Superphone is really good for SMS marketing. And as we know, more people open up their text messages than they do social media or their emails, right? It's just an 80% click rate through text messages. So you don't want to spam people and bombard them with a whole lot of sell, and links, but you want to be very, intentional with what you're doing, right? So Superphone is very good. And one of the good things I like about it, it reminds me of people's birthdays. So I'm able to send a happy birthday to them. And if I'm doing something like this webinar, I'm able to schedule it and say, hey, check in at 12 o'clock. I'm doing a webinar on entrepreneurship. You want to check it. Now, the chances that some of y'all join from that is probably high. But you can use this as businesses. So many businesses use this for customers to come back, repeat, telling them there's a discount, there's a holiday sale, tons of ways. So, and it integrates with your Shopify. So that's Superphone. When I was talking about auditing your business model, I want to dive a little bit more into that. So what I really was saying about that was finding what your business is missing, right? And make the adjustments for that. It doesn't mean that you're chasing after something different because you may think that's the trend, but it's more so of what could we do better at, or what can we serve, or are we seeing something differently that we can, and these are just, self-awarenesses as an entrepreneur, as a business owner that you would have to do. Is my business only for a certain market of people, or am I looking at the wrong age group? What can I do, right? Could I add delivery services to it, right? There's 3 entrepreneurs that we helped actually with the Kiva program, 3 young entrepreneurs in Northwest Arkansas. And they came to me and Martha, and they talked to us about a ice cream delivery. And I tell you, myself personally, I kind of laughed at it because I've never ordered ice cream on delivery, right? Maybe groceries, and that's just recently, and that was just groceries, but never, called up to get ice cream delivered to me like I would a pizza. But their business model was fantastic. They were mission driven to help with the local food banks. They were getting drivers that were going to get paid to make the deliveries. There was a certain ingredients to the ice cream that made it unique. So they had it really thought out. And they actually got the funding that they were looking for. And so that's a good example of what I mean about what could your business do differently. So they didn't think of opening a store like we would an ice cream parlor or an ice cream truck going around, the neighborhood, but they actually went to the customers. Okay. So, yeah, if your business is into making donuts, or are you providing a service that gives you a donut experience? Fancy way of saying it, but it's just another way of maybe that can help you kind of identify what your business is doing. Main thing, keep going, keep going, keep going. We're coming to the end of it. And more so right now than ever is your network is your network. So how you're building a database of people that is in your industry, how you're building a database of people who are possible people that you can kind of refer to for advice is very important right now. I like to join LinkedIn groups. LinkedIn is still very good location, platform, social network for anything to do with businesses, anything to do with people in your industry. And your local chamber of commerce, right? So I did have as one of the resources, the Urban League. So the Urban League is a chapter all throughout the country. And they are very, very good tapped in because they've been, in existence for decades. I want to say 50 something years. And the Urban League in certain chapters instantly can introduce you to people that are owners of certain, companies that you may be trying to target. So rather than trying to, again, think on your business. So am I trying to reach 100 people, or do I want to get 10 contracts, right? And so depending on how you're presenting yourself and making your approach, these type of groups, network groups, organizations can help you with that time and time again. It's just important. And then more than anything, just support each other. That's the key. I really, as everyone is going through the journey of entrepreneurship, is supporting each other, encouraging each other, whether it is, using someone else's service, giving them a chance, do it. That's the key thing I think is a thing that we can take back that was from Black Wall Street, was that the dollar circulated in that community. And that had to do with them supporting each other, right? And so that's what I would leave on that message for today. And this is my contact information. I want to leave it open now for little discussions. Let's see who's in here. Riley, I see, is in here. Kyle, any questions? This is going to actually be recorded and shared.
And if you're uncomfortable unmuting and asking your question out loud, feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll read the question out loud.
Any questions? Let me check the chat.
Now, Alvin, you want to let everybody know about part 3 of this series?
I don't see any questions.
Alvin, when are we slated for the, we got a question in the chat. Kyle said, how would someone go about finding what business to do?
Good question. How would someone go about finding what business to do? That is a very good question. So it kind of depends on where the entrepreneur, that person is in their journey. So let's consider it as a journey, right? So if you're looking for a business to do, one of the key things, of course, people say is your passion. So what is something that you like to do? So if you're into making wallets and just kind of something that you think is real cool, but you want to do, that's what you would start. It's kind of, what is something that you think that you can offer that is a passion of yours? So then another one is actually asking questions of what people are looking for. But that will require, and then the example I'm thinking is if, for example, you're a photographer and you saying, well, I could take pictures of many things, but going to what I was saying of niching down, maybe if you were to do a survey of expecting mothers who were expecting in the next few months of baby photography, how much would they pay? What kind of settings? I think that's kind of the other journey where you're already seeing a little bit of what you want to do, but how can you get better at it or find a better angle from it? And if you're just from a fresh start, I mean, you know, it's just take a risk. Really, it is. And so from that, I would not do things of setting up an LLC and going all about doing that. I would just stick with flipping something on eBay or repairing iPhones, you know, locally, like kind of see cutting grass or and maybe if landscaping is something that you want to do. That's another way of doing something. And if there's no more, let's see, is there one more? No problem. No problem at all for that one. Thank you all for attending. Hopefully this one was very helpful. There's probably a lot of streaming. And if you have any questions, again, contact me at alvin@startupjunkie.org. Again, Kiva/NWA.org. startupjunkie.org, and tons of resources, tons of things. We got one more seminar we're going to do that's in August. So one more of this 3-part series. It's going to be in August. So make sure you tap into that one. I may bring a guest to kind of come in, since it's going to be Women's Business Month, I think, or Women's History Month. And so I've got possible special guests that I would like to bring to kind of provide some value to it. So thank you very much and have a great Juneteenth.